Hello everyone. Today I will discuss top 20 machine learning question asked during interview. So if you are having an interview and you are preparing for the interview, machine learning interview, then you are on the right place. I will discuss the most commonly asked question during the interview. So the first question is differentiate between supervised and unsupervised learning. So this is the most commonly asked question in the machine learning interview, that what is supervised learning and what is unsupervised learning. Supervised learning uses labeled data to train model that can predict output from new inputs, with common application are classification and regression. In unsupervised learning, we use unlabeled data to find hidden patterns or grouping, and this often used in clustering and dimensional reduction. So the key difference between labeled is the presence of labeled output in supervised learning and unlabeled output in unsupervised learning. Next question is, what is regression? So interviewer could ask you that please describe regression. What is regression? So regression in machine learning is a supervised learning technique used to predict continuous numerical values based on input data. It involves finding the relationship between dependent and independent variables, allowing the model to forecast outcomes. Some of the regression examples are predicting house prices, stock prices, and predicting temperature changes. So if you are having such type of a problem, it means that that is a regression problem. Next question is difference between machine learning and deep learning. So this is a very basic and important question that differentiate between machine learning and deep learning. So machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence in which features are manually extracted before passing them to machine learning algorithm. And machine learning techniques are usually used when data is not too large and we have shortage of resources. So we prefer to use machine learning algorithms. While deep learning is a subset of machine learning which didn't require manual feature engineering, and deep learning models perform good on large data and huge data set, and for deep learning we require high level of resources for deep learning models. Next question is how random forest work. So this is also very important and a common question, that how random forest work. So you can answer this like random forest is subsets, make subset of training data, and which is called bootstrap sampling, and after making the subset, it construct different multiple trees and train that subset of data on the trees, and after that it choose the decision of the majority of the trees as the final decision. Next question is, what is training data and test data in machine learning? So this is very commonly used terms, training data, test data, train test splits. So training data, when we have a data set, so we divide that data set into two parts. One is training data and one is testing data. Training data is used to train the model from which model learns, and after the model trained, then we used test data. Test data is unseen data, and we use the test data to evaluate the performance of the trained model, that how the model trained. So we use the test data, and test data is unseen for the model, and on the basis of the test data we evaluate the performance of the trained model. Next question is, what is difference between classification and regression? So classification and regression both are like supervised techniques, machine learning and techniques. Classification involves predicting a discrete label or category for a given input, like if you want to categorize something, and so that we use classification models, like we want to predict the type of the fruits, that this fruit is this image belong this image have apple, or this image have orange. So this is the classification technique in which we want to categorize our input data. While in regression involves predicting a continuous numerical value for a given input, for example, predicting the price of a house based on its feature or forecasting the temperature for the next day. So in regression is also a supervised technique. So if we want to like predict the continuous value, like we want to predict the CGPA or temperature values, so we use the regression models. Okay, so next question is, what is variance in SVM? This is also very important question, and in some interviews, interviewer ask this question, that what is variance in SVM? So you can explain that in the context of support vector machines, SVM variance refer to the model sensitivity to the training data. High variance means the SVM model fits the training data very well, capturing noise and potentially leading to overfitting. And low variance means the model does not fit the training data closely, potentially underfitting the data. Okay, so let's move to next question, which is, what is semi-supervised learning? So along with the concept, having the concept of supervised and supervised, you should also have the knowledge of semi-supervised learning, because interviewer can ask you about that. So semi-supervised learning is a type of machine learning that combines a small amount of labeled data with a large amount of unlabeled data during training. So this approach falls between supervised, which uses only labeled data, and unsupervised learning, which uses only unlabeled data. So if we have a data in which a small amount of data is labeled and large amount of data is unlabeled, and we use both, we want to use both labeled and unlabeled data to train our model, so we will use semi-supervised technique. Okay. So the next question is, describe naive in the naive-Bayes classifier. So naive-Bayes classifier is a very common and famous machine learning model or algorithm. So the term naive in the naive-Bayes classifier refers to the assumption that features in a dataset are mutually independent given the class label. This means that presence or absence of a particular feature does not affect the presence or absence of any other feature. The next question is, what is overfitting in machine learning? So this is highly common and famous question during the interviews. What is overfitting? So we can describe that overfitting in machine learning occurs when a model learns not only the underlying pattern in the training data, but also the noise and outliers. This result in a model that performs very well on training data, but poorly on new unseen data. The next question is, how KNN works. So KNN is a simple algorithm used for classification and regression. During prediction, it calculates the distance between the new data point and all existing data points, select the k nearest neighbors, and assign the new point to the most common class label. Now, come to the next question, which is, list some machine learning models used for classification. So, interviewer could ask you that please list some of the models, machine learning model, if you want to classify something. So, you can describe models like decision tree, random forest, KNN, naive Bayes, and logistic regression. The next question is, what is k-mean clustering? K-mean clustering is a popular unsupervised machine learning algorithm used for parsing a dataset into k distinct no overlapping cluster. So if you have an unsupervised problem, so we can use k-mean clustering algorithm. Next question is, what is principal component analysis, PCA? This is a well-known question asked during machine learning interviews. So you can answer like that. Principal component analysis is a statistical technique used for dimensional reduction in data. PCA transform a set of correlated variables into a smaller set of uncorrelated variables called principal components. These components are ordered by the amount of variance they explain, allowing the data to be represented in a reduced dimensional space while preserving as much variance as possible. The next question, what is underfitting? So sometime interviewer asks that what is underfitting or overfitting, and sometime ask that what is the difference between underfitting and overfitting. So these are the some various type of question which could be asked during the interview. So underfitting occurs when the model is not sufficiently complex relative to the complexity of the dataset. Signs of underfitting include high bias and low variance. In practical terms, an underfit model fails to learn the training effectively and perform poorly on both the training and unseen data. The next question is, for a specific problem, how you will select your machine learning model. So if you have a problem and you want to select a machine learning, so what are the points or what are the key factors upon which you will decide that I will use this machine learning model, or this machine learning model will be best choice for my problem. So there are different points, like first of all, you will see that what is the data type upon which you want to train the model. So if the data is labeled or data is unlabeled, categorical or continuous, so according to the data type, we will decide the machine learning model. So this is a very important factor. Data type is a very important factor to select the machine learning model. Next is size of the data set is also very important. So if you have a small amount of data set, then you will go to machine learning models, and if you have a large amount of data set, then we can also go to deep learning models. And what is the goal, what we want from our model? So according to all these factors, we will decide our machine learning model. Next question is, what is clustering? Clustering is a technique used in unsupervised machine learning to group a set of data points into cluster based on their similarities. The goal of clustering is to identify natural grouping within the data, where data points within the same cluster are more similar to each other than to those in other cluster. Unlike supervised learning, clustering does not have predefined label for the data. Instead, it relies on algorithm to automatically discover pattern or structure in the data. Let's move to next question, which is explain confusion matrix. So confusion matrix is a very common evaluation measures when we are dealing with the classification problem. So interviewer could ask you this question, that explain confusion matrix. So you can answer that a confusion matrix is a table that summarizes the performance of a classification model. It presents a detailed breakdown of the predicted and actual classes for a set of data, enabling evaluation of model accuracy, precision, recall, and other performance matrices. Next question is explain logistic regression. Logistic regression is a classification model used for binary classification tasks where the outcome variable is categorical and has only two possible classes, like yes, no, true, false, 0, 1. So if you have a binary classification problem, then you can use logistic regression. Logistic regression has a threshold value of usually 0.5. Value above this is considered 1. Like if we have value above 0.5, so we will consider the output is 1. And if the value is below the threshold or below 0.5, then we will consider the output is 0. Next question is, what are support vectors in SVM? Support vectors are the data points that lie closer to the decision boundary, hyperline between classes. These points are crucial because they define the separating line or hyperline and contribute to the construction of the SVM. Okay, so these are the 20 most commonly asked questions during machine learning interview. So good luck for your interview, and you will definitely conquer the interview. So thanks for watching, and if you like the video, then please share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you very much, and goodbye.